Hi, this is Rob. I'm going to share with you today a few interesting concepts that I had never seen clearly before that help me to understand myself and maybe be able to help you to understand yourself better and the path that you're on. These videos on this channel are in conjunction with the other ones that I posted on my other channel called Angel de Luz 1970, and I haven't put a link up there for it, but I'm going to today. So basically, my guides have helped me to understand a few things about myself that actually help me to feel better about who I am, because I look at my own flaws and I wonder where the hell they come from, and I'm pretty hard on myself because of it. And if you're like that, then this might benefit you as well. If you've ever studied the Kabbalah, it's called the Tree of Life, and it's part of Jewish mysticism. There's a lot of information on the internet, a lot of books. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Tree of Life. Now, if you haven't been introduced to the Kabbalah, then that's your responsibility. Crowley, a lot of people don't like Crowley, but Aleister Crowley has a lot of cool information, especially in a book he published called 777, about the meaning of the Tree of Life and all of the various paths on the trees, which represent paths we follow during incarnations and lifetimes. Basically, though, if you look at the Tree of Life, and I have an illustration of it here, you'll notice that you can break this up into three pillars, and on the far left side tends to be the glyphs or the parts of the Tree of Life that represent justice. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, kind of a concept. And if you go over to the far right, this pillar is generally called the pillar of mercy, which it balances justice. So you have on the Tree of Life a perfect balance between all the glyphs. On the right, the glyphs of love, forgiveness, mercy, and on the left, the more harder glyphs like war, justice, vengeance. And basically also, as a side note, those left-hand glyphs are usually colored in shades of red, and the deeper red as you go down towards the bottom glyph, which represents the physical plane. The very, very bottom glyph on the Tree of Life is where we are at right now, and the Kabbalists call it Malkuth. It is the plane where everybody believes they're separate. It is the world in which we live in. And we come here for a series of lifetimes. And we eventually evolve onto higher glyphs. And basically, though, the pillars are important because there are different paths that we take. And I found out that as I've been interested over the last 10 years especially in Hindu scriptures like the Bhagavad Gita or Taoist scriptures or the teachings of Buddha, I've read the Gnostic Gospels, the Nag Hammadi scrolls, which were Gnostic Christianity scriptures, and very interested in this religious type path. And I found out that this religious type path that monks, priests, ascetics, people that you associate as very holy people, is represented with the middle pillar. And if you notice at the very top, the top glyph is called Kether. And what's happening is we're at all of these points. Our souls are interdimensional and at all of these points at once. But we're only aware as we incarnate at one point along this glyph, along the Tree of Life, as to where our current perspective is. But as part of us is in the glyph of unity, which is on the top, and a part of us right now perceives ourselves on the bottom, in the glyph of Malkuth, which is the physical plane. The evolution of our soul takes us from this physical plane and brings us back up again to the awareness of unity, which is a perfect state of bliss, peace. In yoga they call it samadhi. In Buddhism they call it nirvana. In Christianity they call it the kingdom of heaven. It's the perfect state of unity on the top. Now our souls are continuously experiencing from the very top and the very bottom of the glyphs, all the way through the Tree of Life simultaneously. But we're continuously emerging our awareness back up into unity. It's as if, in some of the videos that I posted earlier, We are always in a continuous state as souls in forgetting who we are and rediscovering who we are. Rediscovering who we are as a unity, as a whole, as perfect love, connected with all things. Forgetting who we are in the physical plane and thinking that we're separate. And the purpose of all of this is for us to create and experience what it means to exist. In Hebrew scripture, when Moses saw God, he asked what the name of God was. And God didn't tell him, my name is Jehovah, or Yahweh, or Krishna, or he just said, you want to know my name? I am that I am. I am. God just is, and we're all a part of that. And God, his, her, it, the force, whatever you want to call the consciousness that flows through all things, desires to experience and find out what does it mean to exist. And again, I've explained this before, and I'm going to come back to the tree of life in a minute. But because there is no end, there literally is no end to the definition of what it means to exist. What it means to exist encompasses all things, and more than you could ever imagine, more than we even are aware of. There's no end to it. It encompasses all of the pain, the depression, the sadness, the grief, the anger, the rage. It encompasses all of the forgiveness, the mercy, the compassion, the charity. It encompasses every breath, every experience. Every particle of the universe is experiencing what it means to exist, and that's what we're a part of. But back to the tree of life. On this process of remembering, forgetting, remembering, and forgetting, our consciousness is always being raised through evolution, an evolution of awareness, through many, many, many lifetimes, and through many experiences between lifetimes. Back again to this state of unity. Now, the thing is, though, as souls, individual souls, you reach the state of nirvana, a perfect state of bliss and peace, and part of you is there right now. Part of your soul is there right now, and what you're doing is you're reawakening yourself to that part that is already there. And it's a beautiful, beautiful state. It's perfect serenity. And we enjoy it so much that often many of us are in a rush to get there. And it sounds kind of silly when you think about it, because in a rush, there's no end. It's eternity. It doesn't matter how long it takes you to get there. It doesn't matter how long you stay in any plane. You're already there, and you're going to become aware of it. But a lot of people that follow the middle path, and if you look on the illustration, the middle path goes straight up from Kether. It goes right from Malkuth straight up. It doesn't zigzag and cross between the other paths, the two other pillars that I dubbed justice and mercy. It doesn't cross through all those other paths. It basically just goes straight up. And how ascetics or monks or priests or people that we call extremely holy do this is they totally denounce all desires. In the Bhagavad Gita, they call it desireless desires. They desire nothing. So what happens is, because they desire nothing, they don't crave things. They repress anything good, basically, as far as what they would call lustful. Let's say overeating, sex. The things that they tell you not to do. And the reason why is because then you develop a craving maybe, or you experience it and you want to continue to experience it, and they tell you that you're going to become trapped in it, which is actually, to tell you the truth, is a bunch of bullshit. You're not going to become trapped in it. But in order to go straight up that middle path, you've got to renounce all that. And so, for me, for example, I have found out that in many past lives, I have been a Buddhist monk, I have been a Christian monk, I have been a priest, I've been a lot of different ascetic lifestyles where people, you fast all the time. Well, I look at myself now.